that might be working. Let's see about this. I'm gonna do one of these. Oh, nice. Damn, professional. Thank you. Oh yeah, we're moving up in the world. Why is my camera so dark? Are you guys feeling that too? My camera looks not crisp. Something's funky. I also don't have a mouse plugged in currently. 1 second. Solvable issues. Oh yeah, now we just need air conditioning because I'm dying. As I said, professional. How's it going, Dixie? Okay, so let's see about this. Where's my chair so low? Boom. Okay. Yeah. Why? Yeah, so my camera is very dark. Would this be better? No? Huh. Weird. Let's try. Yeah, there we go. Now is it laggy? This one? Yeah, that's better. Saturation's low, but we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Okay, so this is gonna chill over here. And I think, yeah, there we go. Look, check this out. So we got boom. Boom. Do you guys see raycast? I'm assuming you do. Which screen is it grabbing right now? It's grabbing this one, right? So I guess OBS is hiding. Go throw OBS on another screen. Okay. One more time. I said I'm going to throw OBS on another screen. Boom. We got there. Okay, this is coming together, and if I do, what the heck? You guys don't see raycast. That's weird. But if I launch a terminal, you guys don't see the terminal. Okay. That's not the desire. Wait, if I hide OBS from capture, it hides the terminal? Only trees. Weird. Okay, so now we're chilling. Now we're chilling, and you can see, boom, we got raycast. We're typing. We're using the computer. It's coming along. Love nature. We're here to touch grass. We're watching my stream to touch grass. All right, let's. All right, so I'm here. There we go. I'm still working out the kinks on this configuration. Little by little, it improves. Boom, face cam. Okay, and let's try. Hey, Plus, how's it going? I see the Mac terminal in the woods. Perfect. That's the desire. Let's try. That works. That works. Let's try desk view. How messy is it? Come on, desk view. Yes, dude. Okay, excellent. So desk view works. Also, my recent favorite movie, got this on Blu-ray. I think, I don't know if this movie did well outside of Canada, because it's like deep Canadian lore. It's all, well, It's all about like Toronto, so I guess not like the rest of Canada, but Torontonians have kind of like an ego, I assume, akin to what New Yorkers feel about being an American. They're like, this is the best part. Although we're also kind of just sick of Toronto nonsense, so I don't know. I don't know anymore. But anyways, full of Toronto stuff, and it was a ton of fun to watch. So picked it up on Blu-ray. Very excited about that. How's everyone doing lately? Dixie and Plus, what kinds of projects have you been up to? I've been still sorting this nonsense out. I do have a side project that I'm going to show off. I still don't know exactly how I feel about quote-unquote learning AI development practices. I miss coding, like it feels dumb, but I miss, like, people say trad coding. I do miss writing outlines of code, but I need to be good at using AI for my job, so I'm learning new tools, and I've been learning OpenSpec while building out like a little side project, so that's been kind of cool. Still sorting out my Docker host from migrating to Proxmox. Fair. That'll take a while. Soon, TM, we're going to get back to Papa Roach and setting up the Ansible stuff so that we can start doing our backups, because for some reason my NAS, the TrueNAS box, keeps kind of shutting down or like ceasing to host the API, or like the web portal type thing. I don't know what's going on with that, so I need to look into it. It's been weird. Same, sometimes I write my own recursion just to feel something again. Yeah, it was funny. I was helping my fiance's little sister. She was taking like a first year computer science course, right? And so I was helping her write a little bit of JavaScript, and I'm writing it out by hand. And by hand, I mean like with a pen on paper. And I just had this little joy, that I haven't felt in a while, because Claude writes my code. And I miss it. I do think overall, I was never somebody who loved writing code line by line. I've always been more like, I enjoy being on the Linuxy, like infrastructure-y side of things. But I do enjoy writing code now and again. I think overall, the move to AI stuff has made my day-to-day a little easier. Yeah. But, and I'm not like totally against... I find the use of the tooling can be quite fun sometimes. The sort of ethics of how they were developed and stuff aside. But yeah, it's every once in a while, man, it is nice to just drop in and write some code. I want to spend a little time learning TypeScript. I think that would be fun. Might do some advent of code in TypeScript, that kind of thing. Trying to move slow to not make it so messy. Yes, I feel that, Dixie. The problem with my setup is I started moving so slow. It's been like 2 months since I worked on my home lab properly. So maybe I'm moving a little too slow. We'll see. I've revitalized my side project, Mux Opus, a many-to-many streaming server started in 1996 in NASM, now ported to C, ePOL in pthreads, TLS 1.2, and HTTP 3. When I have modern video support and AMQP implemented, I'll probably AGPL v3 it. Very cool. Mux Opus. I like the name. I'm not familiar with NASM. Which I'm assuming this is an assembly. What's the word for that? What's the word for it? For like, I don't remember the name. Anyways, I'm curious, why start an assembly and port to C? My understanding is by 96, C was very well supported and adopted. Was there a specific hardware that you were interested in? What kind of thing? The premise, what if you could chat with your sensors and multi-program streams of a satellite at the same time? What if you could chat with your sensors and multi-program streams of a satellite at the same time? I have no idea. what the use case of that is. It sounds really cool. 1996 32-bit assembler is slower than 2026 C. Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, at the time, in 1996, was C not a better option? And so I'm curious, why choose to write it in assembly in the first place? That's my question. All right. Let's take a look. Do we have? Yeah. So today's stream, we're gonna get to all this. I'm gonna let people stroll in, and I should probably ping Discord and all of that kind of stuff. There we go. Whoa, my chat moved over. This is gonna be frustrating. Okay, there we go. Why did I get signed out of my chat? Are we for real right now? Oh my god. Okay, I'm back. Let's full screen you. Excellent. And then here we are. We're back over here. Okay, great. And time to ping folks in Discord that I'm streaming. I forget to do these things. But yeah, we've got a new device here, the Umbrel Pro. So that's what today's stream is going to be about. We're going to be setting this up, unboxing it. I have desk view, which is going to be fun. Unfortunately, that camera doesn't have like one of the dummy batteries yet, so it dies a lot. I'm going to have to fix that later. So I've got like a backup battery nearby for when that camera dies. Hopefully it won't take too long. Oh, did the ping go out? No. Just talk. Hey, so when's the next digital declutter happening? August. Okay. Let's see. News. Yeah, what distro are we on nowadays? Bopping about. I don't have a main Linux box at the moment. We're gonna figure that out later. Let me just real quick get this live stream thing going. For some reason, my announcements stopped working a little while ago, so that's fun. So now I have to do it manually. But oh well. Oh, I always forget. Can't do Control V. Where's my command? Where's command? Over there. Yeah, I guess I'm just used to it there. Send. There we go. So that's up and running. Excellent. All Discorded out. And I can get back to chatting. Needed absolute speed back then. I used it for a site with approximately 1 million concurrent users in chat at the same time. Now it's more like, what if we could watch streams together with 40 millisecond latency? Okay, cool. Or talk about sensor data by adding voice to an MQTT brokers topics. Okay. I'm going to be honest. There are a number of things there that I'm not familiar with, but it does sound very interesting. And I guess, yeah, it makes sense. If the hardware then, if you could get optimizations with assembly that you couldn't get in C, then that checks out. Yeah, so for distro stuff, well, I'm going to be giving away this little B-Link computer. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be switching our Linux box to Chewy. Chewy's going to be our main thing. By the way, I know that the premise of Mux Opus is bonkers. Could become great for the Temple OS of data science. Well, I mean, I feel like there's been more bonkers ideas that have gone very well. So, should be cool. I mean, I doubt it'll be the Temple OS of data science. You're at least very stable. Question to everyone. What are people using for Google Drive replacement? Is it Nextcloud or what? Yeah, for now, I don't know what I'm going to set up as my Google Drive replacement. I don't do a lot of Google Drive stuff, but my girlfriend wants to get off of cloud stuff, and she's going to want like a nice GUI. Like I just have the NAS for things, and that's good enough for me for the most part. Also, hey Proton, how's it going? But I'll need a GUI. I've heard some good things. There was one people were throwing around in the Discord a little while ago. I forget what it was, but once I get there, I'll let you all know, and we'll start hacking around with various containers to launch once I get the homelab ready. But yeah, we're gonna be throwing a new Linux on this. I do want to do that like week-long. Was it OnlyOffice? OnlyOffice did seem quite good for office stuff. Did it also do the sort of like file management thing? Because that's very important. But yeah, so picking a Linux distro for Chewy, and that's going to be my dev box, and we're just going to hack this to shit all the time, which means having some fun with setup scripts and things like that. I want to do the virtual teletype thing for a bit, so I'll probably do that on Arch. That just sounds appropriate. And we'll see how that goes. See if I can do a couple of streams with nothing but the virtual teletype and KMSCon. That should be fun. Seeing how much work I can do on an environment with absolutely no GUI whatsoever. Maybe I'll finally learn how to use a terminal-based, a text-only web browser. I've always wanted to do that, so that could be fun. I found a good terminal-based email manager a while back called Arc, AERC. That I was actually quite a big fan of. So, I mean, with a web browser, an email manager, and, Linuxing, we should be fine, Tell me more about hack the shit out of it. I don't know, because all of the content creation stuff is on the stable Mac device, right? The Linux box can be whatever the heck we want it to be, right? We can just pull it apart. We can reinstall distros all the time. We can hop. I think that's kind of what I want to do. I've always had more fun with Linux when I didn't need a stable Linux environment, which sounds funny. Like either it's on my server or I'm just distro hopping all the time, and it's like one of those things where the Linux box is cattle, not pets, and you're just uninstalling, reinstalling, throwing new stuff on it. It doesn't matter. I think that would also be a good kind of lesson in, one, how do you automate reasonable minimal setup? And two, how do you make sure that your data is on the NAS and backed up, not on something that is corruptible and disposable, right? So that'll be a lot of fun. That's the plan for hack the shit out of it. All right, let's close this. Go. Why did I get signed out? Okay, there we go. Breaking it only sucks if you need it to work. Yes, exactly. Okay, so I think at 4:30 I'll start cracking open the Umbrel Pro, and we can get going on that. In the meantime, yeah, I can kind of update you all on what happened last stream. So I'm going to try swapping input sources and see if that works appropriately. Please? Yeah, there we go. Okay. It's looking good. Let's see. I'm going to have to work that out eventually. I think this will do for now. Yeah, okay. Now, if I go over here, I think I had this. And Linux box. Excellent. And can I do... Whoops. Yeah. Whoops. I didn't do that correctly. 2. Where's my fancy terminal? Okay. There we go. Okay, so the first teletype wasn't working as intended, but this is working. So this was something we were playing around with last time, which was just a prettier virtual teletype. And it was actually quite fun. It worked better than expected. This is the environment that I was talking about earlier that I want to see if this works. Because, you know, you do a little Tmux action and you've got sessions, right? So we can use these for all sorts of things. We've of course got windows, so we can sort of pop back and forth. We can do remembering my hotkeys. There we go. Because I don't modify Tmux so that I can use Tmux wherever I go, and the hotkeys are always the same. So there we go. And then we were doing like a little W3M, you know, and go into. Actually, one thing I want to do, let's try it. Let's see if this works. Duck, duck, go. Nice. How do I get in the search? There we go. Text. I want to do. This is one of the tools I've been using for the AI development stuff I'm learning. I need to learn some of the hotkeys. But this has been pretty cool. I guess I'll show this off. Can I git clone this? I have no idea how to use GitHub appropriately. This is one of the AI tools I've been using, which has been pretty cool for developing this. Oh, I haven't told you about my side project. Let me tell you about my side project. Let's do that. And then remind me at about 4:30, we're going to kick over to Umbrel Pro discussions and all of that fun stuff. So, I've been using this app on my work MacBook called Stretchly. And I've never really cared. It's open source, by the way, so search up Stretchly. I'll put it on screen later. I've never really cared for Pomodoro timers for work because, like, focusing for 2 hours for me has never been a problem, right? 2 to 3 hours of coding, I don't really need assistance with that, just the way that I am. And so I never thought, like, wouldn't it be nice if I took 5-minute breaks every now and then? It's like, that just didn't matter. But lately, you know, I'm 28 and my back is starting to hurt and things like that. So I've been trying to take better care of my health and my fitness and that sort of thing. And so I started using Stretchly, which I've got it configured for every 30 minutes to give me a 5-minute break. And during that 5-minute break, I've got like a pull-up bar. I might do some push-ups. I'll do some stretches, that kind of thing, right? And that I have been loving it for because I don't like doing things like I will wake up at 7:30 and I will do 30 minutes of calisthenics and it will be this routine. I never stick to it. But if it's just like, well, multiple times throughout the day, I'll go do 1 set or 2 sets of pull-ups or whatever. That I have no trouble keeping up with. Hey, Tim, how's it going? But yeah, so I've been doing that, and it has been tremendous. It actually works really, really well for me. And I sat there thinking to myself, you know what would be great if I could, because it will give you recommendations for what stretch or what activity you can do, but I almost always ignored them and instead just did whatever I wanted. And I thought, it would be nice to seed it with the stretches and exercises that I want to do. So I sat there and I thought, well, I could build that, right? Like, how hard could it be to build a Pomodoro timer with some stretches involved? But I've also been playing Hades a lot. And I thought, you know what's more fun than being recommended 1 stretch to do? Pick one of 3 stretches or exercises. Everybody loves pick one of 3. That's like the best mechanic to come out in the last 5 years. Pick one of 3? That's the best. So I thought, okay, what if I build out like a gamified Pomodoro timer with this like pick one of 3 system? And I've been working on that lately, and I've been doing that largely like AI-driven learning OpenSpec. OpenSpec is a tool for spec-driven development. So that's actually been quite fun. I found OpenSpec to make AI vibe codey stuff more controlled and more like it both feels more hands-on for the interesting part of planning. I feel more involved in the development. Roguelike Pomodoro stretch timer. Yeah, that's exactly it. I describe it as like Hades meets Stretchly meets an exercise coach. Because I've got all sorts of fun ideas for like, well, if you're doing calisthenics, for example, there are progressions, right? So you can do a modified push-up, but if you can do 10 modified push-ups, you can likely do one full push-up. And I thought, that sounds like a great way to build in that sense of progression, right? Because everybody loves that. And you can have like a little spider diagram for your like character's history, but your character is literally you. So yeah, that's been quite fun to think about and build out. I've got the basics of the Pomodoro timer built up now, and that's cool. I've been very explicit because one day I would like to I would like to maybe sell this for the Mac and then give it away for free on Linux, because, right? I was very explicit about not reading any of Stretchly's code. It's open source, right? And I thought, okay, if I'm building something that's very similar, and then I have plans to sell it, then it would be inappropriate to read the open source code and profit off of that design. So I have done none of that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to testing it out. I'm building in some more guardrails and some more test suite stuff, a little bit more improvements to the developer experience before I get to the game stuff. The Pomodoro is ready-ish. It's ready for testing, but the game stuff is what makes it fun, or what will make it fun, hopefully. Private for some business venture in the future. Well, that sounds very cool, Tim. Once you've got that into a state where you're ready to make that public, feel free to share it with the community. As someone who loves Hades and hates back pain, I'm interested. Excellent. All right, well, I'll let you know when it's ready. I have... Oh, yes, I'll share that in a sec. I have started a company with two friends. Basically, Nick, the other person who built the original version of the cohorts, he's on team. And then I brought in another one of my friends, and we're rebuilding the cohort stuff from the ground up, so that it's a little bit more stable, easier to manage, all of that good jazz. And it's coming together. We're hoping to do the second launch of the cohorts in August with a much better app, a much better experience all around. I know that's been a long time, but it takes a long time to start up a company and rebuild an app from scratch. Apparently, it takes, apparently. So there you go. I mentioned that because I'll probably sell this like Hades Stretchly Wombo combo under that company, which we've titled Aware by Default. Should be fun. But yeah, I think I'll see if I can give it away for Linux users, because why not? All right, let's take a look at spec-driven and then do Umbrel OS. Linux box, MacBook desktop. Okay, so I'm going to pop this over here. Let's see if this still works. Boom. Okay, cool. We'll do. Not everything is public projects, but there will 100% be a ton of public projects once the foundation is fully built. I'm so excited for everything I'm doing. That's awesome. I love to hear it. All right. So, that's not working. What's going on here? Come on. Where's my mouse? Here. Oh, okay. We got there. So, okay. So this is the project that I'm working on right now. I'm calling it Project Kairos. Kairos? It's the Greek word for, like, the appropriate time, or the correct time. Timing, that kind of thing. And I thought that would be funny for a Pomodoro timer. It's probably trademarked as shit, so I'll probably need to name it something else later. But what are you going to do? It's unfortunately an Electron app, but I did not want to learn Rust today, so we went with Electron. Let's take a look at OpenSpec. So if we pop over here, you can essentially outline a series of specifications. So this is like the start. And you outline your application in Markdown, all of that stuff, all of the requirements, blah, blah, blah. It comes with a design doc, proposal tasks, and your AI can just run through these. So that was a quick run through, but let's look at what that actually feels like to run. So if I do tmux new session, Kairos, what is it? -s, Kairos. There we go. Okay, so I can do open spec, is it list? And it'll list all of the specs that I've got. Interestingly, some of the tasks aren't done. I wonder what's going on with that. I thought they were all good. Something must have gone awry. So I'll have to figure out what happened there. We can also do, let's see what this does. Kind of tracking your specs that you're working on, but naturally most of it goes through your harness, right? So if, let's go, whoa, oh yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, there we go, and here we go. So I can do an open spec and then do an explore. And let's say I want to plan a feature. I don't know. What should I... All of a sudden I can't think of anything. Oh, let's do this. I want to plan a feature for adding sounds at the start and end of a break. Oh, and I almost forgot. Last week, I launched a goat feeding detector for an animal shelter. Uses CUDA to identify if anyone is feeding the goats with stuff they cannot really handle. That's really cool. What was the nature of that product or that project? Were you just like working on an open source project for a local animal shelter? Is this like a contract that you had? That sounds super cool. All right, so I can do this, and it'll start kind of exploring the idea. Then you propose a feature, or once you've explored it together, this is sort of their plan mode. It does Claude things. This is a beautifully clean architecture. I love how much AI just loves to tell me how smart I am. It's so funny. So, anyways, you can go through this process. Hopefully it finishes soon, so I can show you the other features, and then we can get to Umbrel Pro, because that's what I really want to do right now. Your architecture practically invites this feature. Awesome. So, it gives me my plan. During uni, you've been using Linux or your MacBook mostly? I didn't have the MacBook during university, so I was all in on my Linux laptop. It was pretty sweet. Okay, and then from here... Why is it mad at... Oh, I see. Let's go down. There we go. Nope. And then go back up. So once I have that nailed down, I can do propose, and it'll create the spec, and then afterwards I do an apply, and it goes through the process, and it's actually quite good. It started at a company Christmas party as a joke. Everyone loves goats pro bono. Very cool. Anyways, so yeah, that's that. I'll explore it a little bit more. I think I might do some dev work on this live because I'm having so much fun with it. And it's something that I want to use every stream so that I remember to stretch, because 2 hours here at my desk is actually quite painful for my back after a long session. So yeah, okay, let's do desk view. Okay, it's time for Umbrel Pro. Boom, that's the desk view. And there we go. Unfortunately, I can't get this thing much higher, so it's not great, but like the angle, but it'll do. So, got a little box. Now, I think we're all gonna notice that this is clearly a pretty direct competitor to the ZimaCube 2. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to have more options because it is very different, right? If you all saw my Zima Cube 2 video, like I was lugging it around and it is quite heavy. This, it's like the size of my hand, right? Hey, Map, good night. Might play around with that. Yeah, honestly, Lo-Fi Turtle, if you're doing AI-driven development stuff, the OpenSpec is really cool. It has been a more enjoyable development experience for me. What's in the box? The Umbrel Pro. So, let's flip it open. Take a look. Ah, it's a box in a box. Okay, I gotta say that was pretty slick. Like I that was cool. I wish I had recorded that for the video, because that was pretty fun. So here's your box in a box, designed by Umbrel. It's got this like wood accent because the actual device has a wood accent. Matryoshka classic. And then, I guess that's our device. Pull that out. And it's about the size of a Mac Mini. Right? So here's Chewy. So it is very much like a mini PC. Cool. Let's do this. Oh, I missed the round part first. The sides. Okay. So there's your Umbrel Pro. Is Umbrel OS non-copy left? I'm not sure the exact nature of Umbrel OS. I know that it's open source. That's what I know, which is one of the big driving factors. One of the things that makes me most interested in Umbrel OS is it's like, I've been quite a big fan of Zima OS, but it's closed source, and that's a huge problem for a lot of people, reasonably so. This is one of those things where you're looking at the auditable version, right? You can actually read their code. But I'm not sure about I'm not 100% sure about the nature of their license. I'm just going to go through the rest of the box, see what else we got going on here. They've got it getting started. I gotta say, like, when they emailed me asking if I wanted one, obviously I was like, yeah, I do. But they told me that I was going to be blown away by the build quality. And just, like, feeling it, they did not lie. They did not lie. This is, like, solid aluminum. Like, I think this wooden part here is, like, that's actual walnut. At least, like, a little walnut veneer, which is, again, like, surprising. Device looks very nice. I'm having a hard time convincing my parents our home server is good. On what grounds are they not giving on? Just because of how ugly most stuff is. Yes. A lot of like homelab channels will talk about wife approval factor, which, you know, I'll call a partner approval factor, the non-technical partner approval. And I think this would go over just fine. You know, this is a beautiful little box that isn't going to be hurting anyone's feelings, you know? Okay, so that's the device. I'm going to put it off to the side for a sec, and we're going to see what else we get in here. So underneath this, yeah, like even they've done this up to look like kind of brushed aluminum, and it's rigid too. They clearly put a lot of time and care into this, which I think is quite nice. These things don't matter once the box is thrown away, you know, but they matter while you're opening it. So power adapter, see what we got. Usual barrel type of thing. Let's see. 1.3 amps. Input, yes. Output, 3.42 amps. Okay, cool. All right. So, looks like it's not going to chug power, which is nice. It's got an N300 processor, so a little juicier than most of my N100 stuff, but not by not by a ton, as I understand, but we'll take a look through specs. Ethernet cable, what do we got? Cat 6? Cool. Anything else? No. All right. So let's take a look through this getting started guide, and then we'll plug it in and start poking about. You know. So lift to remove the magnetic bottom cover. So yes, that's one of the interesting things here. They've gone an all SSD route, which of course, how else would you do this? How else would you have your homelab box be this small and also your NAS unless you went all SSDs? So yeah, plug it in, connect Ethernet, connect power, open Umbrel OS. And look at that, like they're assuming you're a Mac user, which is interesting, right? It tells you a lot about what their demographic is, right? I've found that Umbrel and Zima both are very Mac OS oriented. And I mean, we can feel by the way this packaging is designed, that all of that kind of stuff, it's very clearly reminiscent of that. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, that just sort of peels off. It is just magnets. Comes right off. Cool. I'm guessing it says peel this film off before use. Okay. Cool. Sweet. I don't have any SSDs laying around because, hardware is incredibly expensive right now. But you can store up to 4 SSDs here, and then you're good to go. I really wish I had some spare SSDs, but thanks AI. That's now impossible. Okay, let's take a look at some specs before I boot this thing up, and then we'll boot it up. How much storage does it come with? I think 2 terabytes on the main drive is what they sent for me, but I'm not sure. Let's check first. I'm gonna turn this off before my camera runs out of battery, which is a little cringe. That's a problem, but what are you gonna do? I have 10 spare SSDs. To have bought storage before this AI crisis nonsense, right? There we go. Are you serious? Sorry. I'm navigating. I've got like 3 monitors hooked up to the MacBook right now, and I'm still figuring out how to deal with that. Okay, boom. Why did it jump over there? It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, there we go. Close this up. Yeah, I've got... I just wish I had more spare RAM. Yeah. All right, so there we go. We can do this again. Okay. So, stop renting your digital life and start owning it with a home server. Cool. So, yeah, they're advertising it right up front. Let's take a look at the specs. Everything the cloud promises, nothing it takes. I like their marketing here. Okay. I see a lot of these. This is something I have to comment on because I've been sent a number of these now. Right? I've been sent the Zima Board 2, the Zima Cube 2, and now the Umbrel Pro 2, or the Umbrel Pro, right? And every time they're like, "Can you show off some AI features?" This is an M300 with no GPU, right? And like you could at most run like a Qwen 2.5 for homelab stuff, for like Home Assistant, for interpreting queries, that kind of thing. And that's really awesome. Like I'm a huge fan of that. And they can probably do that. We've tested it on stream briefly, and I think that makes sense, right? But I keep seeing this, and I don't mean to knock on Umbrel, right? Like, I do think this product is going to be quite cool for a lot of people. But I think this is just like AI stuff coming up. Like you have to market your AI product. Running OpenClaw on an N150 or an N300 or even the i3-1215U in the Zima Cube 2, like it's not going to be a very good agent. It doesn't have the power to run one of these LLMs that quickly. That's been my experience so far, right? Now, of course, you could run, let's say, Claude or something like that, and consider it sandboxed on your NAS, but then Claude has access to your NAS. I don't know if you want that, like you could run it in a VM on Umbrel OS, and that might work out very well. But yeah, I don't know exactly how I feel about all of this, like run OpenClaw on our very small, low power, efficient device. That just doesn't seem plausible to me. Everything else does seem really plausible. You could absolutely store lots of photos and files on this. It's going to do great for streaming your movie library in 4K HDR. Like it is that kind of thing, Letting OpenClaw manage your NAS is a good way to free up a lot of space. Getting your backups accidentally deleted. Yes, agreed. So I'm not sure about that. What do these pluses do? Okay, cool. They just show you a bunch of options. That's cool. Kind of like that. So we can get up to 32 terabytes of SSD storage. That's really cool. When they say aluminum and American walnut, yeah, again, the device feels and looks fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. Like they nailed that, and it makes me happy to see somebody in like the open source community care that much about the aesthetics and the feel, that premium feel. It matters, right? I guess not just backups, yeah. Your data stays safe. Yeah. RAID powered. Yeah, that makes sense. Magnetic lid. I do like that. It's really easy to get in there, so you don't lose the little screwdriver they send with you. And I guess... Okay, I will say, maybe this is like old school superstition and this doesn't matter for SSDs, but like having magnets near drives scares me. But I'm sure that the team knows that better than I do and would not have done it unless it works. So, cool. Yeah, they've got an app store. They got a whole thing. We're going to look through the operating system together. I do like the look of their operating system. I think it's going to work great. So a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Storage, auto detects new SSDs, allowing you to expand capacity, swap SSDs, monitor. When it says allowing you to expand capacity, I wonder if it's got that new ZFS feature that lets you just like add to a pool regardless of the size. That could be fun. Set up in under 5 minutes. That I believe. Network sharing. Powered by Samba. Yep. Private by design, of course. Built-in backups. Cool. Setup so simple it barely counts. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. One thing I would have liked to see on this is a second RJ45 port here. I think that would have been cool, so that you could virtualize your router or something like that. It's somewhat common on these mini PCs. Yeah, like on Chewy over here, for example, I've got two RJ45 ports. That would have been nice, but I don't use it that often, and I have a router, so we're fine. Okay, so we've got 8 cores on the Intel i3 N300. So I want to read through that specific processor. 16 gigabytes of RAM. Yes, dude. Okay. Can we just real quick, again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if the Umbrel team is watching this and like thinking, I don't mean to constantly compare back to Zima, but these are the two products in this space that I look at and care about. And so I have to. Can I just say, 16 gigabytes of RAM, guys. 16 gigabytes. That's the appropriate amount for this, okay? When I got the Zima Cube 2 and it had 8, it was just odd. And it came up in my video. And in the RAM apocalypse, to do the right thing and give me 16 gigs of RAM, I'm a happy camper about that. Cool. Yeah. All right. So, 2.5 gigs is the standard, I would argue, right now. And then we've got two 10 gigabit per second USB-C ports along the front. So that's going to be nice. You know, HDMI. It's pared down connectivity. The Zima Cube 2 definitely had more connectivity, but we've got a smaller device here. So makes sense. All the right connections. Hell yeah. Crafted well. Agreed. That's interesting. Their Umbrel Pro is only $100 more than their Umbrel Home. What do you get? Oh, the Umbrel Home is just one drive. Okay, yeah, that's like a huge... If you're looking at either of these devices, it's just the Umbrel Pro right away, right? Like, you need drives. I guess unless you have a NAS that you're already using and you want Umbrel for compute, that's fair. But if you want the all-in-one thing, yeah, it's the Umbrel Pro. Okay, cool. The N300 is low wattage. I love that. Fail-safe mode. No data loss, even if one of the SSDs fails. Yes, that of course, right? We've got multiple drives here, so of course we're getting some safety on that. Cool. Okay, I want to look into this Intel N300, but also how much storage did it come with just on device? Did it say at any point? View all specs. Here we go. Capacity. Yeah. Okay. Maximum. Yeah. System. Okay. So this only comes with 64 gigs of onboard storage, which was the same story with the Zima Board 2. So yeah, this makes sense. I thought I had read that it came with more onboard storage, but that's chill. I think that'll work out fine. Okay, what is Wi-Fi 5.1? What is Wi-Fi 5.1? Is that not a standard? Why is this what comes up first? Okay. Is there a 5.1? I don't see that. One YouTube tab can take up to 700 megabytes when playing video at 1080p. Kind of irrelevant to NASs and stuff, but still. Using SSDs as bulk storage is, in my opinion, not the best idea. Instead, you can use TrueNAS to boost your hard drive performance by configuring different types of VDAVs. ZFS Any RAID isn't really ready for production. Okay, that's what it's called. Were you the one who told me about that? Plus, that sounds right. Are they doing regular RAID or those RAID Z? I think it's RAID Z because they said it's ZFS supported, which, I mean, I haven't done regular RAID. I'm not even sure exactly what that means. I've been all ZFS all the time, and ZFS is my preference, so big fan of that. Okay, those are specs. It's time to take a look. And yeah, I've seen a couple of these products that are like pure SSD, and it interests me. I think if you're tight on space and you want to save power, it's probably not a bad idea. But it's not like you're not getting the maximum possible storage, right? Okay, so I'm gonna unplug the old B-Link here and get the Umbrel Pro set up. Sorry, I know my mic's off to the side now. Okay. I need to get my power bar up. Yeah, but rip to your bank account. Agreed, yes. I mean, these days, any storage is like a rip to your bank account situation, so I don't know. It's a little... Why did I get signed out of my chat again? What the Okay, sure. Anyways, yeah, these days it's just hard to be into homelabing. I really wish I had started like 2 years ago. Because, yeah, I was going to pull the trigger on 4 12 terabyte hard drives for about 600 Canadian, which at the time was a boatload of money for me. It's still quite a bit of money, but it's not like, it's not the end of the world. While I was on my PhD, $600 was like insane, you know? See you, Intmap. Thanks for dropping by. Server Parts Deals does have good prices, but like good prices by modern standards, which is still just a horrible experience, you know? Okay. All right, there we go. So I'm just plugging this sucker in. There's power. There's Ethernet. And there's HDMI. Okay. And I'm going to drop this over to the Linux box. It says, did it just, wait, what? Why did it, wow, okay, it powered on before I even hit the button. Sorry, something's, there we go. Turn this off. Okay, so, yeah, I plugged it in and it's up. See you, that tech guy. Have fun. I guess that's all there is to that. I guess we jump back to the Mac view. I mean, they said it was going to be super easy, right? I thought I'd have to hit the power button at least. All right. And I think I just do umbrel.local. And I get some trees. Okay, I'm liking this. This is pretty. Restore my Umbrel, support English. Okay, get started. My name is Nathan. I'm going to do my password. Ooh. Okay, they've put a lot of time and effort into... I can't do this without an SSD. I can't even log in. Oh, well, this is problematic. Interesting. I don't have a spare NVMe anywhere. Okay. This is going to be problematic. 1 second. Hey, Shez. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah. Apologies. I just realized I don't have an NVMe drive that I can actually throw into this thing. I might have one somewhere. Let me take a look. Yeah, I've got my spare HDDs. Where's an M2 to micro SD card reader when you need it? Oh boy. Okay. Well, I might need to hit up a Canada Computers or something and grab a drive later and do a part 2 of this stream once I've got something to work with. Oh boy. How much do SSDs go for right now? Also, folks, say hello to Shez, who is Shez, what is your position at Umbrel? I know you sent me the Umbrel machine, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you in email, but I don't know your like actual official title. Oh, right. If I open up Amazon, I'm gonna get doxxed. 1 second. Let me see if I can find a way to look at some prices without instantly getting doxxed. Let's throw this over here. Why? Why? Hello. Come on, computer. We can do this. I'm gonna go here, and then... Oh my god. Hey folks, I do partnerships and comms at Umbrel. Ah, okay. Yes. Well, that makes sense why we're chatting. Okay. Let's see. Maybe in a private window... Amazon won't drop my information, and I can find out how much an NVMe costs today. At least one SSD is required for setup. The onboard 64 gigabytes is only used for operating system. Yeah, that checks out. I think that's pretty common. Like, that's a common approach. I thought I'd be able to get in and poke about, but that also makes sense. All right, how much are these days? Oh boy. Oh boy, there's a reason I haven't bought storage in a while. Actually, out of curiosity, so first off, let's see. Oh, sweet. Okay, in a private browser, it looks like Amazon's not hitting me with, or not using my actual location. That's not my, whatchamacallit. That is not my postal code. How much do 8 terabyte M.2 drives cost? Oh my god. Okay, so that's not happening. 4? Okay. I mean, still hurts. These used to be much cheaper, but you can get them. I haven't looked at storage prices since a 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe SSD was like $90. Yeah, I know, right? I miss those days. I remember thinking like, oh, I've got this 1 terabyte NVMe that's in my sort of gaming computer. I gesture this way because I moved it into the living room as like a Gabe cube. And I thought, oh, I'll upgrade that one day. And then now the upgrades are more expensive than when I bought them. I knew it was bad, but not this bad, yeah. This is exactly why live streams are fun. Okay. So I'm sure I can pick one up. Let's see. I'll just go small. And I want to grab like 2 at least so that we can mess around with RAID. So let's see. How much for 256 gigabytes? We can do 256 gigabytes. Okay, excellent. Printer ready. What the heck company is printer ready? So I'll pick up 4 of these and then return them. Start at 360 euros. Start at 360? Okay, wait, hold on. 4 terabyte M.2. Okay, yeah. No, that's about the same. I don't know what Samsung's doing over here. Okay. So yeah, I'll pick up some 256s and we'll give this a shot, and then maybe I'll have to return them, but at least we'll be able to test this out. Messaging this guy on Facebook Marketplace about a crucial P5 1 terabyte NVMe, hoping to fleece. That would be a crazy good deal. Good luck with that. Okay, so unfortunately I can't proceed with testing the Umbrel Pro. That's on me. I should have read the device instructions a little closer. Apologies, Shez and the Umbrel team. I'll stream again, I promise. And but let's do a recap of our sort of first impressions. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing off. Let's see. And then we'll chat about it a little bit. My personal favorite thing is that it came with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, I'm going to make sure it shuts down properly so that I don't try to power it on next time and then I've borked it and it's entirely my fault. Okay. Okay. Come on. I don't know why my Ethernet cables are so tight. Okay, there we go. Got it unplugged. So, so I just looked up and my fiance's in the background. Okay, so here's our Umbrel Pro. We do have to do these comparisons, I think, because this, for other devices in this price range. What do we look at? What did the Zima Cube 2 come in at? Forget. I'm looking forward to going through the UI again. Oh my god, yeah, okay. So, let's do a couple of things. This was $699 USD, came with 16 gigs of RAM, right? It's a super premium build, which I'm really enjoying. Like just holding it feels nice. The magnet is very confident feeling. Opening this up, you can see a little bit of heat sort of management stuff built in here, and the whole thing kind of just feels and looks appropriate. So big fan of the fit and finish. That's what I can say about that so far. I was very impressed with the parts of, or no, sorry, I am very impressed with the parts of the UI that I've seen so far. There's a slickness to that clearly they have taken a lot of time and effort putting together. I'm looking forward to looking at Umbrel OS in depth to see if that polish continues through the interface, because that'll be fun to see. Getting through the wizard is one thing, and it's a good onboarding experience. That first impression matters, but obviously using the devices is going to be a big deal. Going to be the thing that you do consistently. This kind of thing is going to fit wherever you want to put it, right? So I'm liking the fact that if, let's say, I'm not somebody who has a closet or a rack for a home lab, I can stick this right beside my Apple TV, and it just sits there. And I really doubt it's going to get loud with the M300. There's quite a bit of ventilation for this thing, which is cool. So it's going to, I assume it cools well. We'll see. We'll do some like, I got to start doing like appropriate benchmarks. We'll do a stream where I learn how to do benchmarking properly. That'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, this I think is going to fit in a household that's not interested in home labbing really nicely, because you can just put it under your Apple TV or whatever device you use to do streaming, right? If you put this with your TV, you're not really going to notice it other than it's pretty and the LED is letting you know it's working or not. Yeah, pretty much. But up to now, for what we've seen, the first login screen looks really nice. Completely agree. Yeah. I wish I could say more, but that again, that's on me. Sorry, guys. I will pick up some drives and we can play around with that. Yeah. Again, this is what, $400 cheaper. Oh wait, sorry, that's the ZimaCube Pro. Wow, all of the ZimaCube stuff is sold out. All right, well, I wanted to compare prices, but I can't even see the other prices. So we're looking at a much smaller, much easier to fit device. Open source software with pretty UI is a differentiator. Yes, agreed. Okay, actually, we can take a look at Umbrel OS probably online. Like if I just pop over here and then pop over here, right? Let's see. Umbrel. Can I just take a look at that? We can take a look at some of the features, and let's highlight the coolest feature here. I can read the code. I can read the code. Like, this just matters so much, you know? Okay. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to testing out the external storage and connect to a NAS feature, because I've got my NAS already, right? Now, the Umbrel Pro is a big deal for if you want to run all of your NAS stuff on SSDs, on M.2 SSDs, that's awesome. But if you've got your own NAS, their Umbrel Home, let's go here. You're not getting RAID on that, right? But it is a little bit cheaper. So you could pick up one of these Umbrel Homes for compute, hook into your NAS, and then you've got a good setup, as long as their connect to NAS interface is great. I imagine it'll be pretty good, though. What else we got? Yeah, I'm really, really hoping that fit and finish that was really good in the Wizard follows through the rest of the system, because that would be really kind of mind-blowing. What else can I look through here? Actually, out of curiosity, for folks here, let's see if I can do a poll. For how many of you is it a let's do this. Self-hosting OS is open source. So the question is, I'm going to throw this into a poll on YouTube. How much do you care about your self-hosting operating system being open source? Is it a must-have? Nice to have? Say, don't care. Let's do that. Create poll. Come on now. Where's the part that lets me make the thing? I'm still getting used to this new streaming setup. Sorry about all the hitches and things. Nope, that's add option. There we go, start poll. Let's go back here. Okay, so we're starting this poll. That's the question. How much does it matter to you that your self-hosting operating system is open source? Is this a must-have? Like, you literally will not buy or use an operating system for your self-hosting devices that's not open source. It's a nice-to-have. We can get more granular on that. Or you just don't care. I think for me, it's extremely important. I think if there was a product that was like super good, what a throwback. Is this an older version of Umbrel OS here? Pink folder icons remind me of Hannah Montana Linux. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this rewind and restore thing. Again, this is one of those features voted must have, but obviously I'm biased. No, I mean it's good that you stand by it, you know? Add Umbrel or NAS. Rewind. Yes, this rewind thing is going to come in handy for a lot of folks, I think. It's like, I think we in the tech community, especially people who are trained with Git, for example, and other version control tools, underestimate how important a feature like rewind is. Because with version control, you're like, well, we're good. But normal people don't version control their Word documents, right? All right. How many votes do we have so far? Because right now, it's looking like the gang cares. I don't want to end the poll. I want to read it. Oh, this interface. There we go. 6 votes. Okay, so we're pretty heavy on must-have. TrueNAS closing their build system, not even the distro itself, was a huge bummer for me. Still use it, but I grow suspicious. Yeah, I figured of all of the folks, you'd probably like you're one of the folks plus who has the capability to actually read through these code bases and understand deeply. I think a lot of people value that you could and appreciate that means that other people are, and sort of benefit from that safety of other people being able to audit the code, but you could audit the code, and I imagine that makes a big difference. For me, it just depends on who's behind the closed source product. I go to open source products before any closed source. Yeah, I mean, I think the feeling I have is anything that's, if a thing is closed source, it's probably only a matter of time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You get those perverse incentives. You have the ability to maybe grab a little bit of data, but Umbrel's always on the hook. If they start picking up data, you'll know, and that's pretty cool. They have to be held accountable to what they do, and so there's a feeling of security in that, and they're proud of it too, which I like. Okay, built for sovereignty. I've never tried hosting a Bitcoin node. No, like, this seems interesting. Llama GPT, self-hosted offline. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, this is one of the things I liked. I remember looking through this a while ago. Umbrel gives you instructions on how to launch your app into their app store, which is pretty cool if you ask me. So if you build something and you want it to be part of their app store, there's a documented practice for that, and I think that's a really good idea. You know, it's part of the open source philosophy, and that makes me happy. Looking forward to playing around with their widgets. Okay, cool. So this remotely via Tailscale. Okay, so um, again, we're gonna have to play with this. But what this indicates to me is they've done some wrapping around Tailscale to make it to give you a nice, pretty UI over top of it, which I like a lot, right? So one of the things that Zima did that I liked quite a bit was their sort of remote access thing, right? And it's just built in, ready to go. But if Umbrel OS does that via Tailscale, which is largely open source instead of an entirely closed source solution, and gives you a nice GUI over top of it, that's going to be really, really cool. I'm going to be quite a big fan of that because I can control Tailscale. There's an ability for me to drop under the hood, but if it also comes with this nice GUI on top of it, that's going to be quite nice. That's going to be quite nice. Yep. Good UI. Usual stuff. Is there a way that I can read more about that? Yes, I love this. I love the developer, like bringing developers into the loop to be able to host their own thing is just awesome. Okay. Umbrel should be a RISC-V CPU edition for fully open source server box for hosting your things. And yes, the RISC-V CPU is fully open source. If they managed to launch on RISC-V, that'd be something. I know my dad's a big fan of RISC-V. Call that throw that a couple years down the roadmap, maybe. All right. I think we can close this poll. But we'll come back to Umbrel next week when I've got some drives on me. Okay. So 80% of us must have. Just refuse to use closed source stuff. One nice to have and one don't care. Cool. I'm not too surprised. By the way, Nathan, you got to try Hermes Agent or OpenClaw once you've got the SSDs. You can use your existing codecs or Claude Code. Ah, okay. Cool. So that's something I was curious about, right? Right, because I've seen a couple things, like, Shez, you probably heard me talk about this. I've seen a couple things advertised, like you can run Hermes or OpenClaw on these devices, and I always assumed they meant, like, with a small Quen model or something. And I OpenClaw's not going to run that well with like a Quen 2.5B. But if we can hook in codecs or something like that, yeah, that could be cool. I've never done it. I've been a little bit hesitant, but you're mentioning sort of sandboxing and all of that. So with some appropriate sandboxing, I'll be able to scope that down such that I feel safe kind of giving OpenClaw access to what wow, I'm struggling with words here. With restricted access and sandboxing, I'll feel more comfortable with it. You'd be surprised. Okay, cool. Good to know. Let's that would be a lot of fun to try, and maybe I'll devote the this thing to testing that out. I haven't made a video on it yet, and I'd like to because I want to do some local AI stuff. Hermes agents. Okay, yeah, I want to do some local AI stuff, but I haven't really explored it other than to try like a Quen 2.5B hooked into Home Assistant. But I don't really, like, I'm not really driving that yet. Okay. I recommend Hermes agents because it can control all other CLIs. Because OpenClaw is more of a security nightmare over Hermes. Technium behind Hermes made an OpenClaw that is more secure. Okay. Sandbox Hermes into a Docker already. Cool. Let's take a look at that. I guess we're doing a little learning today. We'll search up some of the things I might try. So, yeah, because I remember the OpenClaw thing. It popped up for about a week or two in the news, and it kind of died down really quickly. And then I've mostly been hearing about Hermes lately. Not as hyped, but I've been hearing about it, and it seems to be kind of like the accepted best practices approach now. Open source MIT license is a strong start. Desktop app. Okay. So, what might I want to do with something like this? We should come up with. Oh my god. That is something. That is a lot. That is blue. Okay. So, what am I seeing so far? I'm seeing a harness. So this feels like Pi or another harness. What's the thing that gives us a lot of power? Docs. Cool. Getting started. Quick start installation. Learning path. Probably this. And using Hermes. Windows configuration secrets. Running multiple agents. Start here. Hermes agents can do a lot. CLI assistant, Telegram, Discord bot, task automation, RL training, and more. This page helps you figure out where to start and what to read based on your experience level. Cool. You can do automation with it, Nathan. I mean anything. Yeah, that's true, but okay, so I can give this thing what like I'm new to the idea of these always on agents. Never forgets how it solved a problem. Okay. Isolated sandboxing. 5 backends, local, Docker, SSH, Singularity, cool. Modal with container hardening and namespace isolation. Okay, big fan. Big fan of that. Web search, browser automation, vision, image generation, text-to-speech, and multimodal reasoning. Python RPC scripts for zero context cost pipelines. That's interesting. Hermes agents can control your Home Assistant. Okay, cool. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because the way I've been thinking about Home Assistant, like my mental model so far, has been Home Assistant is the driving factor, and then you just sort of like I think it sort of ferries over text to the local the AI assistant. It and then it sends a command back over. I guess that would be the same though. Hermes agents can out of the box. Okay, hold on. Hold on a sec. Now we're playing. Hermes Agents integrates with Home Assistant in 2 ways. Gateway platform subscribes to real-time state changes via WebSocket in response to events. Smart home tools. 4 LLM callable tools for querying and controlling devices via the REST API. Okay. This, I assume, is what I've been thinking about. This seems maybe faster and more powerful. Long-lived access tokens. Yeah. And then we add an environment. Start the Hermes Gateway. Home Assistant will appear as a connected platform alongside any other messaging platforms. Hermes Agent registers 4 tools for smart home control. List entities, get state, list services, call service. Okay. Connects via WebSocket and subscribes to state chain events. Let's see if we can find a little blog on this. Hermes agents become the layer that has some basic memory and so on. So it's pretty crazy. I got annoyed, so I've created so many components that are private with the harness itself. Okay. When you say what caused your annoyance and what kinds of components are you talking about? One of the struggles with AI stuff is there's so much AI slop around it that it's hard to get like real just human written articles. Does anyone have a good article to recommend about this idea? Home Assistant add-on. Okay. Hermes agent packaged as a Home Assistant add-on. That's interesting. I don't think that's the approach we're going to take here. Docs with lots of EM dash. They eat their own LLM food. Yeah. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, that'll be interesting, and we can give that a shot. I do still need to get to upgrading my Home Assistant stuff. Home Assistant is running in one of my Proxmox. I think it's an LXC right now. Or did we? No, we went full VM, right? So let's start with the TUI. Instant first frame. Yeah, I know why I would use a TUI. You don't have to explain that to me. Show me what it looks like so that I can try it. Okay. Let's do a features overview. That could be cool. Skill system, persistent memory, context files. Schedule tasks. Schedule tasks to run automatically with natural language or cron expressions. Cool, yeah. Jobs can attach skills, deliver results to any platform, and support pause, resume, edit operations. Code execution. Full voice interaction across CLI and messaging platforms. Talk to the agent using your microphone, hear spoken replies, and have live voice conversations in Discord voice channels. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I haven't started messing with the voice stuff. I've heard like people at work talking about how they use voice to basically interact with their agent and write code, but I haven't been playing around with it very much yet. Does anyone here do a lot of like voice stuff and find it to be really quite nice? I mean, obviously it's going to matter a lot for text-to-speech stuff for Home Assistant, but yeah. Transcription across all messaging platforms with 10 native options. Okay, so like, for example, if this means, right, so if we do the like traditional Home Assistant approach, right, you need to basically run llama CPP and then also a speech to text layer and then a text to speech layer, right? To actually get Home Assistant to do all of that. It sounds to me like Hermes kind of just handles a bunch of that for you, so you don't have to build like all of those different pieces. Is that correct? I'm having trouble finding like good documentation right now. Kanban tutorial? Okay. Okay, some of these look kind of interesting. Hermes Kanban system was designed with the dashboard open in a browser. Multi-agent profile collaboration. Okay. Both of these docs tell me to read one. Read the other one. Which one do they want me to read? Okay, we're going to start with the overview because the overview sounds like the right place to read. Hermes Kanban is a durable task board shared across all your Hermes profiles that lets multiple named agents collaborate on work without fragile in-process sub-agent swarms. Okay. Every task is a row. Every handoff is a row anyone can read and write. Every worker is a full operating system process with its own identity. Okay. Two surfaces. The model talks through tools. You talk through the CLI. Okay, that makes sense. Board. Okay, so You can create a board, operate on a specific board without switching. Hermes Kanban, restart ATM server, assignee ops. Change which board is current. Yeah, okay. So if I have a series of different agents, I can assign them tasks through the Kanban board. Is that what I'm getting at here? The annoyance I had might not be yours, but I got my own compression engine. Makes sense, yeah. Token optimization is going to be super important. A journal skill, my own memory layer. Also got Honcho memory going, which is a memory surround you and me for the agent. Okay. To remember your preferences and so on for you. Okay, cool. You or an orchestrator agent via Kanban create. Cool. Research AI funding landscape. Assignee researcher. And then watch. List stats. Okay. This could be interesting. I doubt I'm going to jump straight into like multi-agent workflows. Mostly because I'm afraid they'll burn through my my tokens. Hermes agent supports full voice interactions across CLI and messaging platforms. It's voice mode with Hermes. Okay, yeah. I suppose I'd still need to set up a microphone and stuff like that for this. So I'm probably, because I've still got my like Home Assistant device. Also, once you start talking to your agent on Telegram or Discord, I think nobody then actually ends up using the TUI or CLI. Okay, it's that good, eh? Voice on, text to speech, right. Interesting. I wonder which application I'm going to want to give primary control to. Because Home Assistant has been sort of home for a bunch of stuff. For like the way that I think about homelab is that Home Assistant is the core. And it looks like this is sort of trying to be that. And I'm curious how these two are going to interact and which of these two I'm going to want to give more control. Management, web dashboard, skills, okay. Computer use. Hermes agent can drive your Mac's desktop in the background. Your cursor doesn't move, keyboard focus doesn't change, and macOS doesn't switch spaces on you. You and the agent co-work on the same machine. That's crazy. That's okay. This works with any tool capable model. Cool. There's no Anthropic native scheme to worry about. Computer use install. So you install it. Keeping Kua driver up to date. By Kua, do they mean CUDA, or is Kua a whole other thing? I mean, I guess it's on Mac, so it's probably not CUDA. What is this? Oh, deploying agents that use computers. Okay, cool. So this is the sort of package that handles computer use. That's like the core engine of that. That makes sense. STDIO to Kua driver. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So find my latest email from Stripe and summarize what they want me to do. The agent's plan. Computer use. Get a screenshot of mail with every sidebar item, toolbar button, and message row. During all of this, your cursor stays wherever you left it, and mail never comes to the front. Okay. Cool. Now this is interesting. What is their safety standard here? Hermes agents evolve with you, but I got a lot of stuff for mitigating drift, hallucinations, and so on. It has taken me a bit, but I'm starting to see that my agent is able to reflect itself now. Cool. macOS only. There's private Apple SPIs that don't exist on Linux or Windows. For cross-platform GUI automation, use the browser toolset. Makes sense. Cool. Okay. Interesting. Unfortunately, how much do... let's see. Apple Canada. How much do Mac Minis cost these days? Can you still even get one? Because I know this was a big deal a little while ago. People just picking up Mac Minis to run OpenClaw. Man, just let me hit buy. From 1100. Dear God. That's a little more expensive than it used to be. And it's just all sold out. Is that the case, or is it this? Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit more than it used to be, huh? All right. Won't be doing that. Hermes dashboard. This starts a local web server in your browser. The dashboard runs entirely on your own machine. Yes, of course. Cool. Cool. All right. I'll watch some videos on this and take a look. I'm like always open to these ideas, so it'll be fun. And I've got ChatGPT Plus that I can hook into this thing for now to drive it. We can also try some local models. I'll try a little. What's the most reasonable Quen right now? I'm guessing like Quen. Do we have a 3.5 2B or like 2.5B? Is that a thing right now? My assumption is that more recent Quens are going to be better than old Quens, but God knows in the AI space. Like how... Oh, okay, so 3.5s. Okay, there's big, and we get all the way down to small. Cool. So I can run a 2B. Is there that much of a difference between 2.5 and 3.5? This is AI generated. No opinions, just numbers. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, cool. So I assume we're going to run a 2.5 on this N300. That's what we managed on the N150 or on the N100 we tried before, with like reasonable tokens per second. Nothing quote unquote blazingly fast, but fast enough to probably run Home Assistant stuff. So that could be fun. I've been playing around with the local AI a little bit more. Actually, this is a fun conversation. I don't know if I've talked to Chat about that. Hey, Kojo, how's it going? Just popped in. Yeah, so we have been... so I got this Umbrel Pro, which is really, really cool. Umbrel sent me this device. Shez from Umbrel is actually in chat. And I was going to explore Umbrel OS today, but it requires an NVMe SSD to sort of get through the wizard, and I don't have any M.2 drives laying around because storage is expensive and I'm using all of my M2 drives. So I got to pick some up, and we'll take a look at Umbrel OS in more detail next week. But in the meantime, folks have been recommending that I take a look at Hermes Agent and start playing around with some AI. And so I'm doing a little reading. Hey, Sarah, how's it going? So I'm doing a little reading on it and trying to figure out what I might want to do. I'm having a little bit of trouble mapping out which tool I would want to have certain responsibilities. I just got Hermes set up last night. No way, that's crazy timing. How's it going for you? M2 drives cost $70 bajillion now. Yeah, everything costs $1 bazillion, except for the Umbrel Pro. Very nicely priced. So, yeah. I'm just going to pick up like 4 256 gigabyte M2 drives, because there's something like $60 on Amazon, and then I'll return them. And enough that I can sort of test out RAID, all of that stuff, and properly go through Umbrel OS. Should be fun. And then, yeah, it's all right. I'm running against Gemma 4, E4B, Q5 with Rotor Quant. What is Rotor Quant? I recognize the other things. So I'm hearing you quantized. You've got the 5-bit quantization. Is that correct? What's E4B? I'm guessing 4 billion parameters. Why E? And also, why Gemma? Just out of curiosity those are two streams. Why Gemma as your personal preference, if that's the case? And then, do you know what the E stands for? So yeah, that's why we're sort of looking at some AI stuff today. I have been playing around with AI-driven development stuff lately, and it's been working pretty well. but I haven't gotten into these sorts of autonomous agents and all that. Ah, okay, effective 4 billion. So is that's the same as like kind of the active 3 billion, like Quen 3.635b with the 3 billion active parameters? Is that the case? Um, yeah. So I've been testing out OpenSpec, and that's been super fun. But yeah. I like Gemma because it's incredibly good at tool calling and has a fairly strong grasp of the world as is. It's kind of like MOE. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, then maybe I'll try Gemma. I've been I really want smaller, self-hostable coding models to get good. So this is one of my concerns as a professional right now, is if I'm building agentic workflows that I know need to be repeatable, right? It stresses me out that I'm kind of building and testing them against, let's say, Anthropic's harness and Anthropic's models, right? Because I don't have control or observability on those. I can't control the development path. They could deprecate models. There's all sorts of things that could happen, right? And that's stressful for me. I really want like Quen 3.6, for example, to be good enough to do things like OpenSpec development. And it's, from what I've seen, it's getting close, but it's not quite there on the like small on the small example tests I've done. Maybe I'm not giving it enough context window. Maybe I'm not structuring my prompts appropriately, that sort of thing. Yes, I do need Pi as my harness, and that's one of the things I'm looking into. But I've found Claude to be just so much better for software development than the other ones, that like Claude Code's got me by the balls right now. So and I'm on subscription for my like personal projects, so I can't bring that into Pi as far as I understand it. But yeah, I'll keep poking about. I do want to know if you have spec use. If you have space, use the larger ones. The 31B and the 27B are much better. Yes, big agree. I don't currently, but my friends and I are considering building an AI computer. So we'll see how that goes. Also, head over to General Computer, get $200 of really fast Minimax 2.7. It's excellent good for software. It's been helping me the file system I'm writing. You're writing a file system? That's super cool. Can you tell us more about that? All right. Sorry. I'm just navigating. There we go. MacBook desktop. Don't build Skynet. I'll try. Honestly, guys, I like to think I'm pretty good at my job and things like that, but I'm not the Skynet guy. I'm not that guy. So I don't think we have to worry about me. Somebody else might get up to it. With some supervision, Claude is a force at C and C++. DeepSeek is a bit behind, but both way ahead of others from my experience. Interesting. I haven't written a lot of C in a long time, and I've never been any good at C++. But that's good to know. I'm mostly writing. What am I writing these days? Python and TypeScript. So I'm writing the easy languages. What was I gonna search up? General Computer. Okay. What is up with this? General Computer? Is this a thing? General Computer? And we're looking for Minimax. Is General Computer a specific site, Sarah, that you're picking up like tokens from or something like that? Or an API key? I think Skynet would generally happen by accident. Could happen to anyone, I think. Nah, it ain't me, man. There's no way. There's no way. I'm just like, I feel like you got to be a certain level of good, you know, to pull that off. It's not me. Models. Video, speech. Okay, so you're running Minimax 2.7. General Compute. Okay, there we go. General Compute Minimax. There we go. General compute. Screw your docs. I just want to see prices. All right. Boom. I got jump scared. Stop using GPUs. Start using ASICs. Every other inference provider is running your workloads on repurposed gaming hardware. We're not. Purpose-built ASICs, 1,000 tokens per second, 7 times faster inference. Okay. I prefer the agent view, to be honest. Your agent can sign up for you. Hand this prompt to any autonomous coding agent. It'll handle the whole sign-up flow and return with an API key. Type. Same model, not the same hardware. Both responses below run GPT OS S 120B. One on your old GPU infrastructure, one on ours. Run the test and watch the gap. What am I supposed to just hit it? Okay. Oh, can I pick region? Because that's a big deal for me. Sure. Yeah, okay. From first API call to full production, bunch of stuff. API key 100. I'm sorry, what? What? Are they collecting my data? $100 free credit? Okay, what models can I use? Let's take a look at pricing. That's crazy. Thank you, Sarah. It might be because I'm in Canada. Canada often gets everything the US gets, but half as good. But then we get healthcare, so trade off. It's like software developers are paid less in Canada, but often paid more than in Europe. It's Canada's just this weird halfway between Europe and halfway between the US thing. Okay, so what models can I run here? Blog, careers, docs. I guess it's going to be in the docs. This does look cool. I'm in New York and it says 100. Okay, so it looks like they just sort of phased out the big one. General Compute provides OpenAI compatible SDKs for Node and Python, offering a drop-in replacement for the OpenAI SDK. Sweet. We operate the fastest inference layer on top of premium models like Minimax M2.7 and DeepSeek. Cool. Migrate with AI, models and pricing. I may be signed up with 3 accounts at 2. Nice. I definitely won't take advantage of that approach. Definitely won't. All right, let's take a look. So, okay, they're primarily offering Minimax. Cool. Sweet. Rate limits, and it's got OpenClaw integration, which is kind of interesting. Agent sign it, migrate with AI. This works with any agent that can read your codebase and edit files. Copy paste prompts to let your AI coding agent migrate your project to general compute in minutes. I see. Assuming you're using the SDK. Right. Okay. Gotcha. Cool. All right, well then we'll have plenty of tokens to play around with Hermes on our Umbrel Pro when we give that a shot next week. So we'll get some SSDs, play around with Umbrel Pro, the Umbrel OS. Then we'll see about Hermes. I'll not use up all of my general compute tokens probably. See how that goes. I've got a bunch of developer friends in Canada. I'm going to ask them about that Canada gets everything US gets but half as good thing. I'm pretty sure I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm pretty sure. But I've been wrong before. I've said some nonsense. But yeah, like I don't think I'm wrong on this. Like our tech costs more, but not as much as I've heard tech costs in Europe a lot of the time. Our electricity is pretty cheap, to be honest. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, software developer paychecks are lower here, but still, you're still in software, so it's going all right. What else? I feel like a lot of tech gets to us later, but not that late. So, like fiber probably came to Canada a little later. I sent you the current technical brief on Discord for after stream if you'd like to see. That's awesome. Yes, thank you. I'm always amazed by both how similar and different things are between the US and Canada. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's hard to talk about that without getting into politics, and I try to avoid that on stream because I think people need a space where you don't have to talk about that stuff. I think it's important to discuss it, but it doesn't need to be everywhere. Long story short, Ceph and Longhorn pissed me off. Yeah, that checks out. They sound really challenging. Okay. We're gonna be wrapping up for 6 p.m. my time, so we got a little bit more. Yes, culturally. Yeah, one of the things that always surprises me about Canada, US is sorry, very bright in here. I don't know. Cultural icons are very similar across the US and Canada, right? But Canada pushes Canadian content. That's just a thing we do, right? And so there's a bunch of these like Canadian icons. Like when I was a kid, there was this like pop punk band called Mariana's Trench that was like in my head the same category as like Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, like that kind of same bundle, right? But outside of Canada, nobody knows Mariana's Trench. Inside of Canada, everybody knows. Everybody my age was like, oh yeah, I remember Masterpiece Theater and stuff like that. It's weird when we realize something is a Canada only thing, because you grow up and you're like, you can't tell the difference. The most I know of the difference is what Niagara Falls feels like on either side. Yeah. I've been to Vancouver twice and Montreal once. In some ways, it was exactly like being in the US, and then suddenly it was very different, and then the same again. Oh, one of the things that gets me about the US is their payment systems are so far behind. Like, the first time I went to the US and I had to pay a bill at a restaurant, and they took my card away and, like, on paper copied all the data and didn't charge me until that night, was baffling, right? Like in Canada, we just tap because we have modern payment systems, and then we have e-transfer. So you don't need things like Venmo and these like third-party applications to move money between friends. You just have e-transfer. So with your banking app, you just send money to your friend's bank account. Like, what is going on? Yeah, most places. Okay, so maybe it's updated, but last time I was in the US was 2022, maybe 2023. And there were a number of times, I was in Pittsburgh, there were a number of times where they'd taken my card away from me. And I was like, this is insane. I remember the first time I heard it, like the phrase forgetting my card at the bar made sense to me. Because in Canada, they wouldn't, like, from the point that it mattered to me, they have never taken my card away from me. I've never had to leave my card anywhere. I just paid. Right? That was crazy. I feel like the rest of the world has lapped us. We also have Zelly, which is mostly the same idea. It's a bank transfer, no fees, hosted through your bank. It's about time. Cool. You have a lot more Tap here now, but it's still semi-new. Yeah, Tap's been the norm in Canada since I was in high school, which is 14, no. Oh, okay. When did it start? When I got into high school, it was about 14 years ago. So, yeah, it's been the norm in Canada for almost 15 years. It's from what I can remember. Okay. Yeah. I think most people don't realize how often you can actually tap here. It's poorly communicated. Yeah, that's another weird thing. Maybe there are tap options, maybe where I was, that you could, but it was like, I just didn't know to ask, and it's not the norm. So they just asked for my card. Whereas here it's kind of like they just bring the machine. So maybe it's a norms thing. I was at a gaming convention in Texas College Town this weekend. I was able to tap almost everywhere. I think I took my card out to check into the hotel. Makes sense. You got to look for the NFC symbol. Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah. I think that's the whole deal. What I am seeing though is in general, I'm jumping back to the Umbrel conversation. In general, I think a lot of these self-hosting devices are becoming premium devices that look good in the household. That seems to be like a big driving factor, or driving a big goal to strive towards with these companies, especially the ones that are like Mac oriented, right? I say that for devices with they tend to have, hey, what's going here? We're just actually wrapping upstream, and I'm talking about, we were looking at the Umbrel Pro, and we will be again next week. I'm talking about how I've noticed an uptick in these self-hosting homelab devices, the build quality and the sort of, let's call it like partner approval factor. You know, these are the Umbrel Pro is the kind of thing you could just leave in your living room and nobody's going to be upset about that, right? Oh my goodness, it's not over. Hey, Oliver. It is almost. Sorry. Oh, don't we need to talk about your project? I feel like that's coming up, no? So yeah, anyways, that's been really cool to see. Let's take, for example, these two mini PCs I've got with me. A server in every home for years now. Like, okay, so I've got this B-Link here, right? Now, this is a much, much cheaper device, so it's not fair to say, like, the Umbrel Pro's build quality is dunking on this. It's like, of course the Umbrel Pro's build quality is dunking on this. This thing might have been $150, right? Like, I can just throw it around. It's like a pound. It's made out of plastic. I wouldn't put this in my living room excitedly, right? It's got this just sort of techie dinkiness to it, you know? And same with Chewy over here, an old favorite of mine. This is still plastic, right? I'm not impressed with the build quality. I'm impressed with the power for the performance and the price. But, you know, it's not something that I'm excitedly throwing into my living room and, you know, my partner is also excited about having. This thing's quite nice. This, you put it by your Apple TV and you're like, yeah, that fits. And that's a big deal. Oh, yeah, good question. So if you're a home labber, obviously you're not going to stick it in your living room, right? You've got a rack, you've got a closet, something to put your home lab into. But I consider devices like this, which come with Umbrel OS, which is like a self-hosting operating system with a nice web GUI that's supposed to be easy to use for people who aren't comfortable in the CLI, in the terminal, you know, managing their own Docker composes, that kind of user, right? They don't want to drop in and manage ZFS themselves. They don't want to manage even the complexity of TrueNAS, right? That user, hey bud, that user is probably not an avid home labber, right? So they might not have a rack. Or in fact, the user I'm talking about very likely doesn't have a rack or a place to put these things. They might not even manage a switch anywhere. They might be an all Wi-Fi household. This kind of device, I think, is very well suited to that kind of situation because, yeah, you can stick it in the living room. Nobody's going to notice, and they're the kinds of users that aren't going to have a home for their home lab. I call those users not home labbers. I call them self-hosters. So yeah, that's my rant about that. Those are the minority home labber. Yes, I agree. But one of the things that I'm really interested in is I think more and more people want control of their data, but aren't IT professionals or software developers. And I believe that those people should have access and control over their data. That should be an option to them, right? And I think these sorts of GUIs and nice looking devices that can sit in a non-home labbing home, but still serve them Nextcloud or something like that simply and easily, that is a growing segment. That's what I've been seeing with many people who sort of like watch my YouTube videos. There's a growing interest from people who aren't IT professionals who want to escape the cloud. And I think that's what Umbrel is targeting here, which is cool. All right. eBay on old tech. That is where the value is. Yeah, that's that's definitely where the value is. If you want, like, if you're somebody confident looking through old tech and you know how it's going to work, yeah, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, a lot, that sort of thing. I'm with you there. I needed to get on that. I apologize. I've actually been going to school on Mondays or not skipping my third class, so I haven't thought about it in a bit. No worries, Oliver. Whenever you're ready, right? Like, that's your project, and I'm happy to help. Just ping me when you're ready. I love Chewy. Same. Yeah, what if the reason you're home labbing your entertainment system, so you want it in your living room near your TV? Yeah, right? So if you're just like, oh, Jellyfin or Plex sounds really cool to me, but I don't know how to home lab. Having this right there could be cool. Sort of fits that category too. Makes me wonder what I am at this point. Sarah, you're fully capable. You're way past my definition of even home labbing. You're building your own file system. That's, I don't know, tech expert. I feel like Kodi with a Linux ISO is more suited for those kind of home labs if it's just for entertainment. Probably. But I mean, how are you gonna, if you're using Kodi, managing RAID would be difficult. Yeah. Being a bit paranoid and being tech savvy is not necessarily the same, but it overlaps by a lot. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I had not heard of Chewy until just now. I'll have to check them out a bit more deeply. Yeah, I don't know if they're like the best bang for your buck or anything like that. It's just one of the first mini PCs my dad and I got, right? Linux ISO is a euphemism. And so Chewy has become an icon for my dad and I and this YouTube channel. Because I've used it for so many projects. Chewy, I installed CachyOS handheld on this to make a gaming console. I've tried AI stuff on it with just the N100. It's gonna be my no GUI Linux workstation for a bit. That'll be fun. So, yeah, services like Exodus serve Linux ISOs directly to Kodi without having to manage storage. Interesting. How much are they? So Chewy and this B-Link were something like 150 Canadian on Amazon. This Umbrel Pro here is $6.99 USD. So very much more a premium device. It's got an N300 processor, 16 gigabytes of low power RAM. And it's got room on the bottom here for 4 M2 SSDs. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to be calling this stream to an end. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Sarah, thank you for recommending General Compute. I will definitely get my $100 of free tokens. And I will catch you all next week. Can get a Mac Neo for the same price. True. Yeah, I've got my device, but yes, I'm curious about the MacBook Neo. I would love to do a review, but I'm not a big enough YouTube channel that that Apple's gonna send me one. Anyways, we're gonna come back next week with some M.2 drives, take a look at this, and play around with Hermes. Should be a lot of fun. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out.